Hey there, if you're among the thousands of people from, say, California, Texas, Oregon, or Washington who are currently considering packing up and moving to Idaho, then this video is for you. Today, I'm going to roll up my sleeves and dive into 5 controversial issues that, well, if you make that decision to call Idaho home, you're going to want to know about first. They certainly aren't going to all be pretty, but they are issues that are vitally important to know about, especially prior to making such a big, life-changing decision like moving out of state. And just a heads up, in the hope that I don't just completely dissuade you from even ever wanting to visit the state of Idaho straight out of the gate, well, I'm going to cover the biggest and most controversial issue at the end.
So look forward to that.
Okay, let's break these down right now. First up, Idahoans love and cherish small government. So when we talk about this with our clients who are moving to Idaho from, say, California or Washington, sometimes we are met with confused looks when the topic of small government comes up. And if you're in that camp, then let me give you a couple of examples. One great example, and one that often pops to mind as we're driving people around the valley, showing them various communities and areas, is that here in Idaho, if you ride a motorcycle and flat out you just don't want to wear your helmet, well then you don't have to. Well, I, as well as many other people driving around you going 80 on I-84, probably question your sanity and maybe think you're a little bit crazy. Well, definitely. But do we expect our government to use its resources to tell you to take care of yourself?
Absolutely not. No.
Just flat out, our government will not intervene on your behalf, and neither will your lack of helmet.
You should wear a helmet, FYI.
Another way you can see small government in action here in Idaho is through decentralization. So what do I mean by that? Basically, Idaho tends to favor local control over statewide mandates, which allows counties and cities more autonomy in certain areas. So basically, if per se there's an issue that is going to be centrally impactful at the micro local level, well then here in Idaho, that's exactly where that decision will be made at the local level opposed to the state level. And this is something that is very, very different from several of the states that border us. Top of mind for me right now is the state to our west, Oregon. All you have to do is go visit any Eastern Oregon town and you will, I promise, and very quickly, be made acutely aware of just how difficult it is for their local communities to be completely run and really dictated by the decisions that are made up in Portland. Which, if you have been to both rural Eastern Oregon and to Portland or to the Eugene areas, both of which are the largest metro areas in the state and thus control the majority of the state's votes, then you know that they are really just completely different worlds. Up in Portland, do you think that they have issues with cougars and high desert water rights? Yeah, of course not. But yet they vote on these issues that A, don't impact them at all, and B, that they typically know really nothing about because, well, those issues are simply not their everyday issues. And don't even get me started on Oregon's drug laws, or rather lack thereof.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Okay, went on a bit of a tangent there, didn't I? Anyhow, back to Idaho. Thankfully in Idaho, unlike Oregon, Idaho favors local control over statewide mandates. And this approach, which reflects a belief in the efficiency and effectiveness of governing at the most local level possible, is something that many, many Idahoans cherish and hold dear. But that said, it of course is not without its naysayers. Oh, I just realized I never introduced myself. Hi, I'm Marcie Ellison, a local real estate agent based out of the Boise, Idaho area. And if this is your first time visiting our channel and you're looking to discover really just everything there is about living, eating, working, and just all around thriving in the incredible state of Idaho, then this channel is for you. When we first moved here over 16 years ago now, yeah, we didn't know what in the heck to expect. So our goal with this channel is to provide you with videos that, well, that just would have really helped us back then when we were trying to make that decision to make the move and become Idahoans. If you find this video helpful and are interested in learning more about our area right alongside of us, then please take a quick sec and hit that subscribe button. And yeah, it definitely also helps to motivate us to just keep making videos. Okay, now let's jump into hot button issue number 2. Let's talk about the Second Amendment. Here in Idaho, right alongside of our love of all things related to potatoes and our devotion to our incredible wilderness and just beautiful mountain peaks, well, we also love our guns. The Second Amendment and the right to bear arms is cherished here. And some would likely say even cherished a bit more than the perfectly baked, twice-baked potato, which, I don't know, that's saying something.
5 potato, 6 potato, 7 potato.
Idahoans view the Second Amendment with a blend of frontier spirit and modern-day pragmatism. To many Idahoans, it's not just a constitutional right, but a way of life. Here in the gem state, firearms are as common as, well, as gemstones, and they also come in all sizes and shapes. suitable for everything from elk hunting to skeet shooting to protecting that prize-winning potato patch from pesky critters. Idahoans might tell you with a wink and a nudge that their firearms are like their crops, essential, homegrown, and handled with incredible care. Okay, I promise I'm going to stop with the potato references now.
He's up to here with potatoes.
I filmed a full video that dives into Idaho's gun laws, which I will link to in the description of this video. So if this is a topic that interests you, please be sure to check that out. For the purposes of this video though, just know that Idaho's gun laws are well recognized as being on the more, some would deem, permissive side. Both concealed and open carry are commonplace here, and living in Idaho will mean that you will know more gun owners than less. In fact, you should probably know that more than half of your neighbors will likely own a firearm. And, well, personally, I don't know any gun owner who only owns one gun.
No.
Oh, so many.
But anyhow, Idaho is ranked 4th for gun ownership, with nearly 60% of Idahoan adults owning a firearm. And honestly, I actually think that that estimated percentage is on the low side. So yeah, the majority of your neighbors will be armed, or at least their homes will be.
So many guys with guns.
And ladies, too.
So yes, many Idahoans feel very strongly about the Second Amendment, and this is reflected in our state laws and local attitudes. So if you decide to make Idaho your home, don't be surprised if the topic of guns pops up just as commonly as the weather or the latest football game. Guns really are a part of Idaho's culture.
Got it.
Number 3, let's talk about public land management. Here in Idaho, our incredible access to expansive public land is something that many deem as being one of their absolute favorite things about living here. This vast openness is not just scenic, but also just a playground for adventure seekers. So yeah, a lot of Idahoans feel very passionate about their access to public land, and that passion can sometimes cause sparks, which can at times also ignite some very heated and sometimes downright fiery debates. Balancing conservation, recreational use, and resource utilization is no simple task. So just know that living in Idaho will mean that there will be almost always ongoing discussions, debates, and policies around our public spaces and resources. And sometimes, well, sometimes they're not pretty. One notable and timely example, and one that has many Idahoans very riled up, a couple of billionaire brothers out of the state of Texas came in and bought up tens of thousands of acres of land just all across the state, which technically was and currently is still within their legal rights. However, a lot of the land that they purchased effectively landlocked many longtime landowners and effectively closed off access to thousands of acres of open public land for hunting and recreational use. So yeah, that hasn't exactly sat well with many Idahoans. It's a big issue, and one that both Idaho hunters and outdoor recreationalists just are really fired up about. This example, in turn, is hopefully going to change or help to change how government-owned and public land is preserved and protected in the years to come.
Well, I certainly hope so.
Now, let's talk about hot button issue number 4. Let's talk about education in Idaho. Here in Idaho, for years, our education system has faced scrutiny due to funding challenges and policy decisions. Understanding the state's stance on educational funding, school choice, and the overall quality of education is essential. And this, of course, is especially true for families with school-aged children. If you're moving here with kids that are school-aged, or even if you are an empty nester with grandkids, because, well, hey, I can't tell you how many people have moved here only to have their family members who they left out of state pack up and follow suit.
We're coming too.
But really, regardless of whether you have children or not, well, you should care about education and our youth because, well, our youth are literally the future, and good public education systems really only serve to help us all. Okay, I'll hop off my soapbox now. Anyhow, you will want to keep a close eye on developments in the education sector to make informed decisions when it comes to education. I cannot think of a past election that did not include a major school issue or policy or levy on the ballot. You will want to arrive at that polling booth with your research dialed and done. Because, well, if you are anything like me, the little write-up that will be included on your ballot will not provide all the information that you will need and just want to have to make an informed decision when you're in that little voter booth. These issues are, of course, very controversial as well as just flat out personal. Because, as I always say, what is more personal than our children?
Nope, I've got nothing.
So just know that living in Idaho will mean that you will hear a lot about education. There will be a lot of opinions and a lot of debate. Thankfully, it has been and continues to be completely worth it, as it really is serving to continually increase the strength of our local schools. And now let's talk about issue number 5. Let's talk about Idahoans and how Idahoans perceive the value of life. And yes, I'm talking about abortions, a topic that, of course, many of us have very strong feelings about one way or another. As of today, so at the beginning of 2024, in the state of Idaho, abortions are illegal to perform or attempt, and doing so is deemed as a crime punishable of up to 2 to 5 years in prison. It also makes it unlawful for healthcare professionals to assist with such a procedure, with the penalty being the suspension or complete loss of their medical license. Now, this, of course, is a hard one. And before you ask, yes, there are certainly some gray areas. The Idaho Supreme Court ruled last year that the law does not apply to ectopic or molar pregnancies. So the only exception to the abortion ban is when an abortion is, and I quote, necessary to prevent the death of the pregnant woman. This topic is just a hard one. For the purposes of this video, though, I just want you to know that here in Idaho, you will find a large number of Idahoans who are strongly pro-life. Living here will mean that you will both hear and see people picketing and protesting on both sides of the argument in areas, say, around Planned Parenthoods or other similar clinics. I will put a link in the description of this video that will take you to an informative, up-to-date resource that really dives into this complicated and obviously very delicate and emotion-inducing issue. Your take on this is just that, yours. I bring it up because, similar to the other issues I have addressed in this video, it is an issue that living in Idaho will mean that you will hear a lot about. And I don't know anyone who doesn't have strong feelings about it one way or another. So what are your thoughts? Are you curious to hear more about any of these issues that I just covered? Or maybe you're curious about an issue that I didn't include in this video? Let me know down in the comments section. I really do want to know your thoughts and what you're thinking about at the end of this video. And of course, if you found this video helpful, please do us a favor and hit that little like button. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Both really help us tremendously to grow our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.